The hard part about my story wasn't just the part of being abused as a child in a disconnected military-style, religious, legalistic family. As a child, I learned to stuff my pain and problems. I stayed utterly silent, which only compounded each issue. Like an overly heavy and unlevel brick wall, with each one of the bricks being stacked on each other in a disorderly fashion, my life finally collapsed. To my dismay and my chagrin, I was suicidal, depressed, addicted to pain medication. I never spoke up against any of my abusers. And the hard part was, as a very small child, I begged my youth pastor to come home and bring Jesus to my house because my dad was a violent alcoholic, abusive, rude, and everyone around him was worse. But I never confronted him about the sexual abuse that I suffered as a minor, about the manipulation of my parents and my step-parents, their continual control and undeserving punishment, and the blame shifting, and the made-up stories about my behavior, and being called the spawn of Satan, which of course I walked around in a frozen state, hurting all the time, hurting myself, and ignoring other people's feelings because I didn't know what feelings were all about. They would state that nothing affected me, which could not be further from the truth. I was blank and unfazed, but completely ignorant of the power I had in Jesus, who stepped in and broke me free. Free from the silence, free from the blame, freedom of being ignored. Because for years, I forced everyone to ignore me. I wouldn't show up for family functions. I made sure I was not invited. And I made sure that I kept silent. My silent attribute only kept everything on a downward spiral. I allowed myself and my children to be manipulated in the church and abused by those that swore they loved me in relationships. And they continued to threaten and harass me because I kept silent or I spoke up in the wrong way. It took a very long time for me to break free because for years I looked like a pushover, a fool, and completely crazy. But Jesus is the obstacle remover. He's the silence breaker. He's the heart mender. He's the forgiver and the replacer of broken things in our lives. And if we look and think back, those things we thought that would never be fixed, he will fix those things. Let us make today the day. Let us be patient with the one that saw our hurtful pasts, but who is preparing a bold new future for us to live in. Let us fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith.